Hello everyone. In last session, we discussed with regard to fundamental analysis. Continuation of that, fundamental analysis means it is a method that attempts to predict the intrinsic value, right? Fundamental analysis is a method that attempts to predict the intrinsic value. Intrinsic value means true value of the share. Am I right? Fundamental analysis is a method that attempts to predict the intrinsic value. Intrinsic value means it refers to true value of the share. Intrinsic value is nothing but true value of shares. Is it clear? Fundamental analysis, which includes three. One is economic analysis, another one industry analysis, and third one company analysis. Fundamental analysis includes one is economic analysis, industry analysis, and company analysis. Today we are going to discuss economic analysis. Okay, exam point of view, this is very important. All three: economic, industry, and company analysis. Now, what is economic analysis? Economic analysis is one of the studies that form part of the fundamental analysis. Economic analysis, it is a part of fundamental analysis. This relates to study about the economy in detail and analysis whether economic conditions are favorable for the companies to prosper or not. See, this economic analysis which studies about the economy in detail and analyzes whether economic conditions are favorable for the companies to prosper or not. Okay. In economic analysis, analysts try to find out whether the economic environment is conducive for the growth of the company or a business or a sector. See, in economic analysis, analysts try to find out whether the economic environment is conducive for the growth of the company or a business or a sector. Clear? See, economic analysis implies the examination of countries' GDP, government borrowings and loans, then consumer goods, capital market, saving rate of the economy, investment pattern, interest rate, inflation rate, tax rate, FDI, foreign direct investment, money supply and demand, etc. All these factors influence the share prices and the stock market indices. What are the factors? GDP, government borrowings, loans, consumer market, capital market, savings rate, investment pattern, interest rate, inflation rate, tax rate, FDI, money supply, and demand. All these factors which influence over the share prices and stock market indices. Clear? Now, what is economic analysis? Economic analysis relates to the analysis of the economy. See, economic analysis relates to the analysis of economy. Analysis of the economy. If the economy is booming and growing, then this will also have a positive attitude for the industries and hence the companies. See, if the company is booming or growing, then this will lead to positive aspect, positive attitude for the industries and hence the companies. Then, see, when economy is boom, what happens? Just check. When economy is boom, income of the consumer rises or the income of the people rises. When income rises, demand for goods increases. When income of the consumer, when economy is in boom, income rises. Then when income rises, demand for goods increases. When demand for goods increases, then it leads to increase in the industries. Okay, it leads to increase in the industries. When increase in the industries, which leads to companies in general tend to be prosperous. Okay, they will be in, companies will be in a good position. This is good profit. Okay, when income rises, demand for goods increases, it leads to increase in the industries. When increase in the industries, which leads to companies in a good position, financial position, or it is in a prosperous position. That is in the case of boom economy. What about recession economy? See, when income of the consumer or income of the people declines, demand for the goods decreases. When goods demand decreases, then the industries demand decrease in the demand for industries, and which leads to the bad performance as far as companies is concerned. Is it clear? This is recession economy. Hope you are clear. Economic analysis during boom economy and recession economy. When boom economy, when income during boom economy, income rises, demand for good increases. When good demand for good increases, which leads to the increase in industry, it leads to the company in a good financial position, or it leads to a prosperous position. Recession of the economy, decline, vice versa of that, decline in income, decline in demand, decline or decrease in the industries, which leads to bad general tendency to be a bad performance of the company. Is it clear? This is regarding economic analysis. Then, see, the performance of the company depends much on the performance of the economy. If the economy is boom, the industries and companies in general said to be prosperous. Already I told you, right? When economy is in boom, the industries and companies generally said to be prosperous. On the other hand, if the economy is in recession, the performance of the companies will be generally poor. Clear? Investors are interested in studying those economic varieties which affect the performance of the company in which they propose to invest. An analysis of those economic variables would give an idea about future corporate earnings and the payment of dividends and interest to investors. Say, investors are interested in studying those economic varieties. See, various economic factors are added: GDP, tax rates, right? Various factors, capital market, then investment pattern, interest rate, savings rate, all these factors, foreign FDI, money supply, demand, all these factors which influence, these are economic variables, all these factors which influence over the share price. Is it clear? Now this is important, key economic variables. Okay, in that first one, GDP, fiscal policy, monetary policy, savings rate, then trade deficit and exchange rate. First one we are going to discuss, that is GDP. Okay, GDP, that is nothing but gross domestic product, right? Listen carefully, gross domestic product. See, this GDP is the measure of the value of goods and services produced within the domestic boundary of a country. In a year, how much you are going to produce within a boundary, domestic boundary, how much you are going to produce goods as well as services. Totally we call it as GDP. Gross domestic product is the measure of the value of goods and services produced within the domestic boundary of a country. And it ignores, remember, it ignores the depreciation. It ignores any depreciation. Then it is one of the measures of economic activity of a country. It is calculated by adding market prices of all the final goods and services produced in the domestic territory in a year. See, how do you calculate? By adding the market prices of all the final goods and services produced in a domestic country. Is it clear? In a year, in a particular year, all the goods and services, market price of all the goods and services which is produced in a particular year of a particular country. Is it clear? The gross domestic product or GDP is one of the most important indicators used for the measurement of strength of the country's economy. See, the strength of the country's economy is purely dependent on the GDP, in the sense, when GDP increases, it means that the country's economy is good. Is it clear? Then increase in GDP means increase in the production of goods and services. which in turn will result in increase in sales of the company. See, increase in GDP means increase in production of goods and services. See, increase in GDP that leads to increase in the production of goods and services. Say, increase in GDP means increase in the production of goods and services. It is nothing but which leads to increase in sales of the company. When sales increases, which leads to the increase in profits of that particular company. When profit increases, it is nothing but EPS, earning per share of the equity shareholder increases. It is nothing but share value increases, right? When GDP increases, it is nothing but production of goods and services of a particular company increases, right? Goods and services, which in turn will result in increase in sales. When production of goods and services increases, which leads to increase in sales. When sales increases, it is nothing but increase in the profits of that particular company, right? When increase in the profit, which leads to the more returns or EPS, earning per share, to the equity shareholders. So this will affect the share prices. Definitely share prices increases, right? This is what GDP or gross domestic product. Clear? When GDP increases, it is nothing but production of goods and services, which turn will increase in the result of sale of the company. So increase in sales, which leads to increase in profit. When increase in profits, which is nothing but which gives more return to the equity shareholders in the form of earning per share, okay, EPS. Then definitely this leads to effect on the share prices. In the sense, share prices increases. Is it clear? This is regarding GDP. Hope you are clear. Then second one, fiscal policy. Second one, you know, right? Fiscal policy and monetary policy. Okay. Now, second one, fiscal policy. What is this? Fiscal policy is the policy through which government adjusts its spending and tax rates to stabilize the economy. See, what is fiscal policy? See, the government, to stabilize the economy, then they are going to adjust the tax rates and spending rates. Okay, they are going to adjust spending and tax rates to stabilize the economy. That is nothing but fiscal policy. What is fiscal policy? Here, government is going to adjust its spending and tax rates to stabilize the economy. That is nothing but fiscal policy. See, this fiscal policy in the principle based on the thoughts of British economist John Maynard Keynes. See, John Maynard Keynes. Okay, in the year 1883 to 1946. Okay, see, fiscal policy in principle based on the thoughts of British economist John Maynard Keynes, who thought governments could transform economic performance by adjusting tax rates and government spending. See, they thought that governments could transform economic performance by adjusting. See, the government can adjust or government can um, change the or make transform in economic performance by adjusting tax rates and government spending. By adjusting the spendings and government spending and tax rates, they can evolve or they can make transform in economic performance of the country. Is it clear? Different analysts see fiscal policy differently, and thus there are different views regarding whether fiscal policy directly affects stock prices or not. Okay, see, various economists as well as other people, see, they are gave their ideas. They presented their ideas in different way with regard to fiscal policy. So it's not sure that fiscal policy directly affect the stock prices or not. Okay, but commonly it has been stated that government spending in the form of subsidies usually reduces the cost of product and thus leaving scope for larger profit of the firm. See, the government is going to usually give subsidies to the companies or industries. This leads to reduction in a cost. When reduces, definitely profit increases. When profit increases, definitely it leads to the more return to the equity shareholders. That is nothing but earning per share, right? See, when government is going to give subsidies, then this leads to reduction in the cost. When cost reduces, profit increases, larger profits, right? Profit increases. When profit increases, is definitely it is nothing but EPS increases, earning per share to the equity shareholders, it increases. Definitely, ultimately, the this fiscal policy impact over the share prices. Is it clear? Government subsidies which leads to reduction in the cost. When cost reduces, definitely profit increases. Profit increases is nothing but it leads to more EPS, earning per share, to the equity shareholders. Definitely it will impact over the share prices. uh, is it clear? That is the second point. Second one, that is fiscal policy. Next, third one, that is monetary policy. Now, what is this monetary policy? See, monetary policy is the instrument of a central bank of a country. Which one is the central bank? That is nothing but RBI, right? Monetary policy is the instrument of central bank of a country, that is nothing but RBI in India, through which it controls the supply of money. Who is the controller of money supply in India? That is nothing but RBI. The main thing in a monetary policy is deciding about interest rates at which money can be borrowed. See, here the main thing of monetary policy is nothing but deciding the interest rate at which money can be borrowed. Is it clear? Here, if RBI raises the interest rate, what happens? If RBI raises the interest rate, then it will impact on the interest rate on debentures and bonds, right? If RBI raises the interest rate, what happens? It leads to increase in the impact over the interest rate of debentures and bonds. With increase in interest rates on debentures and bonds, there will be a change in risk perception of investors, right? The investors perception will be changed. So thus they will want higher return on their equity investment, right? If interest rate on debentures and bonds increases, definitely even investor can expect more on their equity investment as well. Thus an increase in the interest rate, if not accompanied by increase in return of equity, then investors will get inclines towards the debentures and bonds rather than equity. In the sense, if in case if the interest rate increases but equity return doesn't cope up with, in the sense interest rate of the bond and the debentures increases but equity shareholders is going to get less return, then what happens? The investors, they prefer, in case if the return for equity doesn't increase, okay, then they will go for debenture or bonds rather than equity. This will affect the demand for this will lead to the demand for debentures and bonds, right? in case if the interest rate is accompanied with increase in return of equity, then demand for equity increases. Clear? If the interest rate if the interest rate increases along with the return of equity, clear, then even equity or share prices also increases. This will affect the demand for equity, thus will lower its prices. Similarly, if change in interest rate is as per the expectation of investors, then it will not affect equity prices to a larger extent. Clear? See here, clear it. With increase in the interest on debentures and bonds, there will be a change in risk perception of investors. Thus, they will want higher return on their equity investment. They even equity shareholders also expect more return for their equity. Thus, an increase in the interest rate, if not accompanied by increase in the return of equity, then investors will get inclines towards debentures and bonds rather than equity. If interest rate is not accompanied with increase in the return of equity, then investors will prefer debentures or bonds or debentures or bonds. Okay, this will affect the demand for equity and thus will lower its prices. Similarly, if change in interest rate is as per the expectation of investors, then it will not affect equity prices to a larger extent. Hope you are clear. Remember, it's very easy to understand. I just repeat once again. See, if the interest rate of debentures and bonds increases, even investors also expect more return for their equity investment. Clear? If interest rate, if not accompanied by increase in return of equity, then investors will get inclines towards the debentures and bonds rather than equity. If interest rate is not accompanied by increase in equity, if interest rate accompanied with increase in return of equity, then definitely equity prices increases. Is it clear? So, and another thing, it's vice versa. Hope you can understand. That is monetary policy. Hope clear, right? Okay. Then next one, saving rate. Fourth one, saving rate. Now, what is saving rate? See, with increase in individual saving rate, there will be flow of larger funds into investment. See, if investment savings rate increases, what happens? When savings rate increases, definitely everybody likes to invest, right? Because the investor think that if I invest, I get more return, right? So investment increases, right? When savings rate increases, definitely the flow of larger funds into investment. This will result in increase in the demand for equity shares, and thus share market will be bullish as it has an impact of increase in the share prices. Am I right? When investment increases, definitely demand for equity share increases. Thus leads to it is nothing but bullish trend. It has an impact over the increase in the share prices. On the other hand, a lower the savings rate, then the flow of investment will be less. When investment is less, definitely demand for equity will be less. When demand for equity is less, definitely it is nothing but bearish market, right? Reduction in the share prices. Hope you can understand, right? When investment increases, when savings rate is more, investment increases. When investment increases, definitely demand for equity increases, equity shares increases. When demand for equity shares increases, it is nothing but bullish trend, right? Share prices increases. On the other hand, if lower the interest rate, lower the savings rate, definitely investment will be less. When investment is less, definitely it reduces the demand for equity. When demand for equity is less, the share prices also decreases, or it is nothing but bearish trend. Clear? Next, fifth one, that is trade deficit. What is this trade deficit? See, trade deficit occurs when countries' imports are more than its exports, right? When trade deficit occurs, when trade deficit occurs due to increase in imports than its export, right? Trade deficit occurs when countries' imports are more compared to its exports, right? In other words, we can see it that a country is buying more of foreign goods than it's selling to them. Clear? Buying more foreign goods than selling goods to them. Is it clear? That is nothing. That is also trade deficit. Clear? Imports are more compared to the exports is nothing but trade deficits. See what happens? More imports means more purchase of foreign goods and less purchase of domestic goods, right? More imports means purchase of more foreign goods, less purchase of domestic goods. This will result in more profitability foreign companies than domestic producers, right? See, when you import more, import more is nothing but you get more foreign goods and less purchase of domestic goods. Domestic goods. What happens? What is the result? This will result in more profits to the foreign companies, not to the domestic producers. When foreign company demand is more, foreign goods demand is more, their profit is more, profit which goes to foreign company only. When profit of the foreign company increases, that foreign company share value increases, not domestic company. So domestic company share value decreases. Is it clear? This will result in more profitability to the foreign companies than domestic producers. The lesser the profit, lesser will be the amounts of profits available to the equity shareholders. Domestic companies, equity shareholders get less return because profit, most of the profit which flows to the foreign country or foreign company, then domestic companies get lesser profit, so it leads to the less returns to the domestic company equity shareholders. Is it clear? That is nothing but that is about trade deficit. Then last one, that is exchange rate. Last one, exchange rate. Now, what is this? Exchange rate is also another factor that affects the trade or net exports between the countries. This in turn will also affect the trade and business of the companies that have global presence or any company that is related to any foreign market, whether for buying raw material, selling goods in or in any other way. The effect on such companies' activities or business will affect the company's profitability and hence the prices of shares. Thus, exchange rate affects the share prices. See, exchange rate is also another factor that influence over the net exports between the countries. See, this in turn will also affect the trade and business of the companies that have global presence, in the sense it mainly impact over the MNCs. Okay, any company that is related to any foreign market, whether for buying and raw material, selling goods, or in any other way. See, exchange rates usually influence over the MNC because they used to purchase goods from some of they used to purchase goods from different countries, like they used to purchase raw material from various countries and they used to sell goods to different countries, right? So the exchange rate which impact over especially over MNCs, right? Definitely MNC companies, shares of MNC companies definitely depends on definitely the exchange rate which impact over the MNC share value, MNC companies shares. Is it clear? Hope you can understand the exchange rate point. Is it clear? Exchange rate is also impact over the net exports between the countries. Especially it impact over the MNC's share value, because wherever they purchase raw materials or they used to sell the goods, they involve with another country's exchange rate. So definitely this will impact over the share prices of that particular company. Is it clear? These are regarding economic analysis. Hope you can understand. In case any doubts, you contact me. Thank you.